Las Vegas, and welcome to Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. Thank you so much for joining me today, and just thank you for blessing me so much and joining me and being with me today. There's so many things I want to talk to you about, and I just thank you for tuning in today. I've been with you now for over 100 shows, and I told you I would never stop fighting for America. I would never stop fighting. Standing up for the United States of America and the citizens, the legal citizens of the United States of America. I feel so blessed to be with you today. And what I want to talk to you about, one thing is I'm so glad that Sean Hannity is standing up and fighting back against these left-wing liberal nuts. They control the media. They control the radio stations. They control the news networks, whether it be CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, and CNN, and so many other shows that they have on cable at night. They have all these talk shows on at night, and of course have totally infiltrated the night shows of Johnny Carson and David Letterman and other people. Now they just have basically all of these liberal nuts running these talk shows at night. It's just disgusting. I mean, I used to enjoy sitting up sometime and watching Johnny Carson and shows like that, and now you cut on and you get Stephen Colbert and some of these other nuts on TV, Jimmy Kimmel and some of these other liberal nuts on TV at night. It's just very difficult to watch. It's not any fun. I usually just put a movie on Netflix or something like that because you just can't watch this stuff. But it's just so great to see Sean fighting back. They tried to run him off. I believe that it was a witch hunt what they did to Bill O'Reilly, who I enjoy watching every evening, and now they're just doing the same thing. They were going to pay attention. They were going to point their attention on Sean Hannity and every outspoken supporter. I don't even think O'Reilly was that big of a supporter of Trump. I think he was kind of down the middle. I think definitely he is a Republican, but I don't think he was a big Donald Trump fan. But just the fact that Bill spoke the truth, O'Reilly, and anytime you speak the truth and you dismiss fake news, which is what those liberal networks put out, you are a threat to what they're trying to do. They're trying to control the media. They're socialists. They were Obama supporters, Clinton supporters, and they wanted to keep things the same way that they were. They're very, very upset that Donald Trump won the election. I think I watched an interview the other day of Hillary Clinton, and she is still in denial that she lost the election. The election's over. It was, 8 months ago? You lost. Get on with it. It's just sad to see. They thought that they had it so in the bag that they were so sure that they were going to win the election, and they just, I think, are absolutely shocked that they didn't win. So it's very hard. She can't seem to get over it, the fact that she lost, and here we are 8 months later, and she's coming up with all kinds of reasons why she lost the election, that if James Comey hadn't come out and said what he said, I would have won. She said if the election was held 1 week before the election, I would have won with no problem. You know what? Get over it. Your friends in the media led you to believe that it was going to be an easy election, that you had it locked up, and you didn't. There were people out there in the country that were going to vote for Donald Trump, and those were the people. They didn't go to the rural areas. They didn't go to the farms. They didn't go to certain places and talk to the real people out there. They just talked to certain people, and that was it. And they didn't get the consensus from the American people, because if they would have, if they had gone to the bars, and if they had gone to the farms, and if they had gone to the local pubs and restaurants, like me and my wife did when we were driving around, they would have realized that there was tremendous support for Donald Trump. And so it wasn't the lock. And they thought they had Midwestern states like Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, in which they lost all three. Even Pennsylvania, they just knew that was going to go Democratic, and they are shocked that they lost that election. So they're going after Hannity because, of course, Sean was an outspoken supporter of Donald Trump, and they're going after him, and they're trying to spook off his advertisers by putting all of his advertisers on the internet by name, and they're saying, we're not boycotting you. Of course, that means that they are boycotting you if you continue to sponsor Sean Hannity's show. And I think he lost 4 or 5 sponsors. 2 of them have come back. But instead of him, I think they said his friends said that over the Memorial weekend, and of course it was reported on Fox News, that he was taking a little vacation over the Memorial Day weekend. But there were friends and family of his that said that he was not even answering the phone, that he was not even communicating with them. and they were fearful that he was seriously thinking about walking off of his show and not returning to Fox because he didn't feel like Fox was supporting him through this ordeal. He didn't feel like Fox was coming to his back during this ordeal. And a lot of times when you work somewhere and you feel like you're betrayed, I think you contemplate leaving. And I think that he sat there and he probably talked to only his close net of family members. And he probably sat down and said, you know what, I'm not a runner. I'm not going to run from the situation. I'm not going to let the left-wing media run me out of my show where I'm very successful. And I think he decided to stay and fight back. And he came on and he said, I'm going to fight fire with fire. If they want to treat me like this and they want to post my advertisers, my marketing people on the internet, but I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do the same thing to them. And of course, the ire of his anger was pointed toward Rachel Maddow, that nut on MSNBC, that left-wing nut that hosts her show. He put all of her advertisers on the internet because she has come up with some conspiracy theories over the years which made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And nobody talked about that. Nobody made a big deal about that. So why are they making a big deal? A lot of people, listen, there have been a lot of the Clinton friends that have wound up committing suicide or dying. That's just incredible. I think the number is in the 20s now. I haven't lost that many friends in my entire life. Me, my dad, and my grandfather haven't lost that many friends in our entire life. It is amazing. A lot of these murders, because that's what they are, aren't even investigated. It's just incredible that their friends all commit suicide or all get shot in the back, and there's not even a murder investigation. And so to come up with a theory that maybe these people are having these people knocked off because every time somebody is about to go to court against the Clintons, every time somebody is about to testify against the Clintons, every time someone has some information about the Clintons, they wind up committing suicide or tragically losing their life. I'm not a conspiracy theory person. I've always told you the conservative America stands for common sense. I don't believe in them. I think that there's always a rational explanation for most things. But, when you lose that many people in that short of a time, I would even come up with a theory with maybe they have something to do with it. That's not out of the ordinary, and that's all Sean was saying. He was just saying it's a theory, it's an idea of mine, that the Clintons have something to do with this because investigations are not even made. These people are killed and their wallet with all of their money and their credit cards is still in their pocket. If that was just a regular person, they would say that's not a murder, that's a hit. Because why would that person be shot in the back and robbed supposedly, but their money and their credit cards and everything is still in their pocket? It makes absolutely no sense. So it was just a theory of his. He has a right to his opinion. That's what he does for a living. He hosts a talk show. And so that's all that he did. And he said he replayed shows with Rachel Maddow, who had some of the craziest conspiracy theories. She had shows in which, she was going on total unsubstantiated rumors. And yet she did whole hours about that. And why aren't we holding her to the same playing field as we're holding Hannity? Why are we talking about Hannity and making a big deal about it when he had an absolutely rational theory that maybe the Clintons have something to do with these people dying? I mean, after all, this man had information on her in which he had given to WikiLeaks. So you don't think it was in their best interest for something to happen to him? Of course it was. That's a rational argument. That's a rational theory. I don't think that there's anything crazy they were making it out to be. It might be unsubstantiated, but that's what theories are. They're unproven facts. But he has a right as an American and as a talk show host. He's not a journalist. He's a talk show host. That's what he does. He has a right to his opinion. Does everything Rachel Maddow say is it gospel? Absolutely not. She's had her own theories, and that's all Hannity was pointing out. I have a right to my opinion. She has a right to her opinion. And nobody's holding her to the same standards that they're holding me. Nobody's talking about putting her off the air. Nobody is asking for advertisers to stop supporting her show. Why are you doing that to me? Why is this campaign against me? Maybe the Clintons have something to hide because definitely they control the media. They control the left-wing media. Why are they coming at Hannity so hard about this? Where there's smoke, there's fire. And maybe he stepped into something and stepped on something and he touched the nerve. Because that's a theory that it's not just, trust me, there are liberals that think the same thing, as well as conservatives that think, why are all of Clinton's friends or people that work for them wind up committing suicide some kind of way or dying tragically? I don't think that there's anything crazy about that or conspiratorial about that. I think that's just common sense. And a lot of things have happened. A lot of people have died with absolutely no investigation whatsoever. So it was a perfectly common, rational theory for Sean Hannity to come up with. And to be crucified like that for him having his own thoughts and his own ideas. I thought this was America. He absolutely can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And they're coming after his advertisers for supporting him because they know the ball game to play. They know that the only reason a lot of people at Fox are keeping Sean Hannity around because he brings in over $65 million in advertising to the Fox News network. And if you start pulling some of that advertisement, maybe they want to get rid of him because I'm sure there are people that are jealous of him and the ratings that he has and the power that he has. He had the second most followers on Fox News behind Bill O'Reilly. And we all see what happened to him, even though he got a comfortable compensation $13 million package to walk away besides the money that he's made from Fox News. He's a best-selling author. He's living quite comfortably. He started a new podcast on the internet, so he's not worried about, he's going to get paid. But I think that they were coming after Sean second because he was such a staunch supporter of Donald Trump in the election, and that's something that they still can't get over. And I still think they're holding grudges for people that supported Donald Trump. And I think it's a damn shame because we got too much work to be done in this country. There's too many people unemployed. There's too many plants that are closed. There's too many things that we need to do. We need to remake our military, rebuild our military, rebuild our science program. There's so many things that we need to do in this country. Look at the threats all over the world. North Korea, Iran, Afghanistan, Syria. There's so many things that we need to worry about fighting ISIS and other terrorist organizations. And we're worried about, did Donald Trump use back channel people to talk to the Russians? Who cares? That happens every day. They came out. National Security Advisor Kelly came out and supported Kushner, his son-in-law, for opening up back channel relations with the Russians. I told you that weeks ago. I told you that months ago. That's common sense. That happens in every administration. Even if you think you're going to win, and definitely when you win, you do not wait till the day that you take office to open up conversations. The thing about it is that Barack Obama, and when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, and it continued when John Kerry was Secretary of State, had the worst foreign relations disaster that this country has ever seen. The negotiatings, the deal that they cut over the Iran nuclear deal, I believe will go down as one of the worst blunders in United States national security situations. Our country is much more in danger now than when Barack Obama became president. What he allowed Iran to get away with was criminal. They got billions and billions of dollars, and they only had to put off a couple of years to make it more centrifuges, which helps the nuclear weapons be created. But their program is up and running again. They are actively trying to make nuclear weapons, and they got paid. Only thing he tried to do was pass the buck. He just didn't want something to happen while he was president of the United States. He didn't care about the citizens of the United States. He paid them to stop their nuclear program for a couple of years. But now that they got paid, the couple of years are up. Now Donald Trump has to do with it. That's one disaster. What about the disaster he did by taking the troops out of Iraq and Afghanistan? And he left a vacuum. Who said that years before Barack Obama? George Bush. He said, if you take these troops out, you're going to leave a vacuum for Al-Qaeda, who was the main terrorist organization at the time. Well, what we did was George Bush fought Al-Qaeda, killed the head terrorist from Al-Qaeda, killed Saddam Hussein and other terrorists. And what did he do? Barack Obama comes in office, takes the troops out of Iraq and Afghanistan, leaves a vacuum in which ISIS took control of those areas. And now, guess what? Barack Obama is out of office. Hillary Clinton didn't win to continue the same foreign policy. And now Donald Trump is left dealing with Iran, dealing with Iraq and Afghanistan. That's what he inherited, a real mess. And that's exactly what Donald Trump said. He said, I inherited a real mess. Number 3, North Korea is number 1. Iran and the Middle East is number 2. And he's left with Russia. I think one of the few still powerhouses in the world one of the few superpowers still left in the world. Even if it's not financially, militarily, they are. We need their help in fighting radical Islamic terrorism all over the world. We need them. The KGB has boots on the ground in every country, just like the United States does with the CIA. We need them to help. We need to share information with them because, trust me, they're not after Russia. They're after the United States of America. And of course, Russia, are they using that leverage of the fact that we know that they need our help? Of course they are. Make sure he pays for the mailbox when he comes back. But absolutely, his check is in my drawer. Okay. But absolutely, the Russians are holding back information from us because they want us to get rid of some of those sanctions that we have against them. Absolutely, we have devastated and decimated their economy over the Obama administration. Absolutely, we have. And Vladimir Putin wants some of those sanctions lifted. That's just common sense. So they're like, you want us to help you fight ISIS. And you want us to, because they're not coming into Russia. Russia does not have open borders. This is one of the hardest countries to leave or get into in the entire world. You're not just going to come into Russia or those Soviet bloc countries like the Ukraine and all those other countries. You're not just going to walk into those countries. You better have a reason to come there, and you better have a reason to leave. They have a very closed border policy. And so they don't have the terrorist problems that the Western countries do, that Germany does, as France does, as England does, that the United States does. They don't have the problem that we have. So they're going to use the fact that we need them to help fight and share information against the radical Islamic terrorists. And they're saying, hey, take some of these sanctions off. It's chokeholding our economy. We are not allowed to sell our natural resources, which they have the most natural resources. They're sitting on the largest natural gas supply in the entire world. They can use that to help their economy if they're allowed to sell it. But the United States has choked them off in their economy with all of the sanctions that we have against Russia and the surrounding countries around Russia. So Donald Trump, very intelligently, he cares about our country. And whatever he has to do to make us safe, that's what he's going to do. So you know what he did? He used his son-in-law, he used General Flynn and other people to indirectly open up negotiations with Russia when he realized he had won that election. He went to work the next day. There was nothing illegal about what he was doing. But what Barack Obama and the left-wing nuts got mad about is that they realized he was going to get things done. And doesn't everybody understand that's what they're really mad about? They're mad that he's getting things done. Because if he gets things done for the American people, then it makes them look greedy. It makes them look like they're getting paid and they're not doing their jobs. It makes them look like all these millions of dollars that are coming into the Clinton Foundation and pay for play and being able to pay a couple of $100,000 to sleep in the White House overnight. What is it all for? It wasn't for the American citizens. It didn't benefit us. It didn't bring any jobs here. It didn't keep any plants here. So what was really going on all of those years? Pay for play. Giving grants and giving generously to the Clinton Foundation so that they had access to our country. We were being bought and sold right up under the American people's noses. And here comes Donald Trump, a multi-billionaire, somebody that you cannot buy off. And that's what they're mad about, because now pay for play is over. And Donald Trump is doing the right thing. And he's opening up negotiations that he knows is not to hide it from the American people. That's what they're trying to brainwash you to believe, that Donald Trump is doing things behind your back. No, he's doing things behind their back because he knows those senators and those House of Representatives and all of those lobbyists don't like the way that he's doing business. That's what they're mad about. And all of those media people that are getting paid and have had access to the White House. That's what they're mad about. So that's what's going on. That's what these people are upset about. They're upset that they don't have access anymore. That's what they're mad about. Donald Trump is not doing this for them. Donald Trump is doing this for the American people. And so that's why he sent General Flynn and he sent Kushner to meet with them, to talk to them, so that we can start getting things done. Because one of his main things that he ran on one of his main concerns was, besides making America great again, which is making us the financial powerhouse that we should be, the beacon for capitalism, is to make America safe again. Because he knows, he's a smart man, he travels all over the world. We are not safe, and we have not been safe for a very long time. We need Russia and we need China to help us fight terrorism all over the world. Because one day it's going to touch all of us, it's going to touch home. I don't think we learned, I think we have forgotten, I think we have amnesia. 9/11 was not too many years ago. And I think that it would be horrible for something like that to happen again. But it seems like all of the American people are like sleepwalking or not understanding what is going on. I don't think people understand that. It's devastating what's going on. Did you see what happened at the concert over in Manchester, England? You know, these are 8-year-old kids getting blown apart. For what? For what? Because they want to go to a concert? What's going on? But that's how unsafe this world is. You can't even take your kid to a concert. You can't even send your kid to a concert. Because terrorism has spread all over the world because of these open, liberal borders that Hillary Clinton wanted to continue. That's something that we've got to stop. We've got to vet these people that want to come in our country. We got to stop these people that want to come in our country because they're not here to live the American dream. They're here to kill the American dream. And there's a lot of people, I think, that have gotten paid to look the other way because these rich people live in compounds. They have security in their front yard. They live behind gates. So it's not going to affect them or their children who go to these private boarding schools. You know what it's going to affect? It's going to affect us. It's going to affect the irregular American people. That's who it's going to affect. So I think that it's a shame that they're giving this man, they're giving this president such a hard time who's just trying to get work done. It makes absolutely no sense what's going on. It's a shame. I want to congratulate, again, the American military that successfully intercepted ICBM rockets 3 times, similar to the ones that North Korea wants to use, that they're threatening the United States with. Those ballistic missiles that they're trying to continue to build, that they think will be able to reach the west coast of the United States within 2 years. And so what Donald Trump is doing, he's sending a signal to North Korea and any other country that wants to mess with the United States. If you try to, we were not afraid to spend money on our rocket program. We are not afraid to spend money on our defense program. We are not afraid to spend money. This is not a socialist country. We're not going to spend money on programs that are not keeping the American people safe. The military of this country keeps us safe, and that's what he's going to invest in. And so they shot down 3 ICBM rockets. They did a test over the weekend, and it was very successful. That sends a clear message to Kim Jong-un, or whatever his nutty name is, that little Korean guy with the weird haircut. You know, he's crazy as can be. He's a batty little midget. And Donald Trump is sending a message to him: don't mess with the United States of America, because we are prepared for you. And he's not afraid to spend money to defend this country. And as we saw, over the weekend, a car bomb went off in the diplomatic area of Kabul, Afghanistan. It killed 90 people and injured 100. So just there in the last week, we had the incident at the Ariana Grande in Manchester, England, where 28 people were killed. There were children killed as young as 8 years old, ripped apart by these suicide bombers, and 90 people killed in Kabul. In a diplomatic area, that means that there were American citizens there, international citizens there. That's supposed to be a safe zone, and 100 people killed. So that just goes to show, ISIS is at work. They're not sleeping. They're thinking about how they're going to harm the United States of America, how they're going to harm our citizens, how they're going to harm other Western countries. We need a president that's going to fight as hard for us and our safety, and not turn a blind eye to the world and not make deals with these people just so he can pass the buck. And it doesn't happen on his watch, because that's what Barack Obama did for 8 years. He bought these people off, and he didn't attack them. He didn't take the fight to them. He just said, hey, I'll give you 40 million here. I'll give you 10 billion here. Just don't attack our country, or just don't attack our assets around the world. That doesn't make you safe. That just buys you time. These people are not going to take their money and changed the attitude about the United States of America. They put the money in their pocket and they said, yeah, we'll give you a little time, but we're going to attack your country as soon as you stop paying us. And that's what Donald Trump is inheriting. He's inheriting a mess all over the world, but he's up for the fight. We have a very, very, very good president. I'm glad that he came home safe. I want to just thank all the American troops out there that are giving their lives and putting their lives on the line for the United States of America and for the citizens. They are the true heroes, the people that are keeping us safe every day in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. I want to send out a shout to you guys. You guys do a great job. My dad was a veteran for 21 years. He was in the military. And you guys are the ones that really keep us and our families safe and allow us to enjoy the United States and have a good time. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great Memorial weekend, all the troops. I hope everybody was safe. I want to thank you so much for watching Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. Google me. I will be up on YouTube. There's over 100 shows. We got a little busy over the last couple of weeks, but we're going to put up a bunch of shows coming up, so look for that. Again, subscribe, push the bell. And, of course, a lot of shows are going to be popping up very soon, as well as Face the Tribune with Rolando LaRosse. Stay tuned in about 30 minutes. You will have Blue Laker and Cobra. Very good show. I think I'm going to do a show with him very soon, so look out for that. We're going to talk about a lot of issues that are important to the American citizens. God bless America. God bless our troops. And Godspeed to our great president, Donald Trump. Thank you for watching.